that we are getting instructions on how women, wives, mothers are to act, and that it is in such a way that they have to be filled with the Spirit of God to be spiritual models for the family, for the children, for the home, and they should be the inner part is what God desires. And so it says, don't worry about all those adorning. You have to put all this makeup and this and that and all of these things. And that's not what God is looking for in a woman, in a virtuous woman, in a woman. It's what God wants. A woman who fears God, a woman who has a fear of God, a woman who is interested in obeying God to the extent that she's full of prayer, filled with a desire to pray, to worship, to serve God, and to do everything that God desires so that God will be glorified and that, as we know, Sarah, the first mother of faith, is called here that she was very humble and had the fear of God in her, and so that's why she's being referenced here, and so that women are to follow her example and to be one that is called upon as a woman who has the fear of God. So, um, question 5, and that is false, right? So we go to question 6. Not until she reaches heaven will a mother be praised for her godliness. True or false? All right, let's go to Proverbs again, 31 and 28. Proverbs 31:28.
Proverbs chapter 31, verse
28.
Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also. He praises her.
All right, so we see that when a woman is filled with virtuousness, with holiness, with fear of God, she is going to receive also the praises and the blessings from her husband, and that it is something that God had designed. That not only that, others will see it and appreciate what God is doing in her life. So, um, question 6 is false. She doesn't have to go to heaven. Remember, we receive blessings here, and we also receive blessing when we go up there. So in the meantime, while she's here, it doesn't have to be until she gets to heaven or until we get to heaven. We still get blessing here. So false. Question 7. A good mother should work hard in the home to provide for her family. True or false? All right, let's see. Proverbs 31. And 31:13 to 15.
She seeketh wool and flax, and work willingly with her hand. She is like the merchant ship. She bringeth her food from afar. She raises all while it is yet bright, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maiden.
All right, I mean, so we see that a hard-working mother, a good mother, a fearful mother of the home, what she does, and she works hard, and she provides for her family. She wakes up early to do all the necessary things, and not only that, with prayer and with every activity. Her desire is to provide for her family, and that's what God calls a mother, a good mother, a fearful mother, a virtuous mother. So these are all the qualities that a good, virtuous, we should say, Christian mother should have, and it's to the glory of God. So thank God for that. True. Question 8. Mothers have no control over how their children act once they grow up. True or false? All right, let's go to. We are in. All right, we are now Proverbs 22 6. Proverbs 22:6.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart.
Amen. So we see that God is saying that when children are trained in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, once they have the foundations, they will follow it. And that's why it's always important that fathers and mothers train their children, not one person, not only one sided. When it becomes one sided, then there is no full balance as to the obedience, and at the same time, when the child is not trained properly, we know that it becomes something else, and that's why society, we see so many things happening in society where children are just doing whatever they want because they are off the hook, and at the same time, the government, pushes children to the extent that giving them the freedom, giving them the authority to act any way they want because, well, they are 18, so they can do what they want, and parents no longer have control. And that is what is causing all the problems in the world when government, goes in and tries to remove the parental authority that God has given to parents and gives it to the children because the government thinks that's the right way, but we know God says differently. And so when children are trained in the ways of God, and they keep to it because they've been given the foundation and they know what to do. All right, so false, lie. Question 9. Pain in childbirth is one of the curses that resulted from the fall. True or false? All right, we'll go to Genesis, where the curse was provided. Genesis 3:16.
Unto the woman who said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and shall be rule over thee.
All right, so we see a few commandments, or should I say statements here and some of these statements have been blurred, and people forget about it, and they don't remember that it's there in God's word. And God is saying that first, you know, because of the devil's deception, because of what the devil did in deceiving the woman, and the man also accepting, what happened. We know that God made this statement, or this, you can say it's a curse at the same time. It's, I think better, let's use the word commandment. God made these statements as a commandment and said that unto the woman, because it's filled with a few things. Not everything there is a curse, because it says, unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. So, which is to say that, we all know women have to go through these things when they are having childbirth, but it is not always so for everyone. And with by the grace of God and through the mercy of God, and because of what should we say, reverse that God has provided in it, because anytime there's a curse, there must be a reverse. If there's no reverse, then not. But God provided a blessing afterward, because we know that not everyone has that type of pain. Sometimes it's easy, it's smooth, and it all has to do with claiming the provision, the blessing, and that God has provided. And so, through that, it says, in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. And at that time, that was it. But it was just to remind the woman that this is for what you've done, this is what is going to happen. And then but that doesn't stop there. And then God says, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, which is a second statement there, that God says, for the woman, or to the woman, your desire shall be to your husband. You are going to have to desire a husband, because that is the way God has designed it, because God created the man, and then the woman follow as a result. So we know that this is the provision. And then the third thing, that which is completely ruled out, which is people don't even consider, is, and he says, and he shall rule over thee, or whether rule over or rule you or whatever. God is saying that the woman is to be ruled, is to be commanded, is to be controlled, if we may use the word, by the man. And this is what has been in establishment, and this provision has not been reversed. It remains the same, and it continues to be the same. And what God has said here is what remains. However, through blessings, again, the childbirth doesn't always have to be there, because we know that in the case of the Israelites, when they were in Egypt, and when they were multiplying, they were growing, it is said that Pharaoh, when he realized that the Hebrew women, they were having children, the midwife that they were sent to go and cater for them, he says, well, he actually commanded the midwife that when you go and you are going to take care of the Israelite women when they are giving birth, kill them. When the child is a boy, kill the child immediately. But what happened? They can't control God. Whatever idol or demon you are, when God makes a provision that this is how it's going to be, it will be. So the story is that, or not the story, it's the true fact is that when the midwives went to take care of the Israelite women who were having a child, what happened? It states that the women had a baby even before the midwife got there. So they were unable to do anything. And so Pharaoh said, but I asked you to kill the children. And they replied to the woman, the midwife replied to Pharaoh and said, well, the Hebrew women are not like that. They are not like the Egyptians who have to suffer and pain and all of these things. But when we get there, they already delivered. The baby is already born. So we can't do anything. We can kill them. And so we can see that when God's favor is on the women, on the women or on the mothers and all that, God makes a smooth transition and makes it impossible for anyone to intervene. And so that is God's provision there. But at the same time, let's read 1 Corinthians 11. I think it may be helpful to also read that in terms of what we've read in Genesis 3:16. 1 Corinthians 11, and this is something women hate. Some women, they hate this chapter, but it's in God's word, and they can't change it. 1 Corinthians 11, 1 to 13. 1 Corinthians 11, 1 to 13. Ebenezer, read.
And speak to me, just as I also